Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever it is for you. For me, it is just past midnight on Saturday, January 11th, which makes this the news for Friday, January 10th, 2025, day 1052 of Vladimir Putin's war of aggression against the people of Ukraine. How do you do? I'm Peter Alexievich, and this is the Live at 5 from Kyiv, this major European capital currently under siege by the hordes of Mordor. Hi, Sharon. Hey, Bro Dog. What's up, Nightshade? Hey, Sarah. How's everybody doing tonight? Good evening, Tony. Debbie, how you doing? Hey, PH. How is everybody tonight? Hey, Eli. Hey, Steve with a V. Hey, Bobby. Bobby, how you doing? You safe down there in San Diego? You have to head to the hills? Hey, Rocco. Hey, Blue Ariel Silk. Well, I hope everybody in California is doing okay, or as best you can under the circumstances. Hey, Chef Deb. So, ladies and gentlemen, the place, hey, Brian Cornbrow. Well, stay safe, Bobby. Thanks. Hey, Mel. Hey, Fitz. There's Fitz, who's one of the board of directors. I want to thank Arn, who is the sponsor of tonight's live. Arn is also a member of the board of directors. And for anybody who, I have no sponsors for next week, so if anybody wants to sponsor a live, the PayPal is in the description. Hey, Aiden. Aiden, you have USO after your name, I noticed. Are you, do you support the USO? Are you in the USO? Because, you know, Ukraine doesn't have a USO. And I've been trying to talk to people about trying to start one. But I'm not making a lot of progress because I don't speak Ukrainian. That is the problem. Well, thanks, Fitz. I wasn't trying to hit you specifically, but I do appreciate it, man. Thank you. Hey, Bamba, long time no see. How you living, pal? Your parent, oh, that's Blue Ariel Silk, okay. Thanks, Bamba. I'm sort of stumbling here at the beginning of this because I don't want to have this first discussion. I really don't. It's making me crazy. I mean, it's really, it's got me nuts. But I think it's where we have to start. Because everybody knows by now. I mean, we first learned about this back in 2020. But now we have a whole bunch more details and evidence that supports these allegations. And that is very simply that the Kremlin paid the Taliban bounties on the heads of American soldiers. And not just American soldiers. I don't want to say we were the only ones targeted. But all the coalition partner states. Right, Fitz? Right? We've seen it. And it's not news. Because this was first reported in 2020. And see, to me, that's the news. Right? Because if you remember, if you think back to how the president at the time responded to this, he didn't do a goddamn thing to help our boys or rebuff Russia as they murdered Americans in Afghanistan. No, he didn't. Didn't lift a fucking finger. Wouldn't even acknowledge that it was true. On the contrary, he went out of his way to make false comparisons between us and them. It's obscene. Honest to God, Nightshade. If that's not an act of war, what is? You know, the problem is, were you really, Daryl? Were you really? I did not know that. Well, thank you for your service, man. You know, it makes me crazy when I think about the life that I have had. Which has been a phenomenal life. But I wouldn't have had it without all the men and women in uniform guarding me in my sleep, making America possible. So it is of deep concern to me that this copper-toned con man is about to retake the White House, just as things with Russia are at such a critical inflection point. Yeah, Chris Crouch there wants to know, will you ever come back, you think, to the United States? You know, Chris, I said that I wasn't going to leave Ukraine until the Russians were gone. And Sammy, try to go out and come back in if you can. I said that I wasn't going to leave Ukraine until the Russians were gone. Now, and I meant that, and I still mean it, but I came here to learn from the Ukrainians so that we could fight the Russians at home. Because America is under attack by the goddamn Russians every fucking day. And we do not understand it, we do not appreciate it, and we do nothing about it. So, as America gets ready to resist this tyrant that we have put in charge, I have been thinking that if things don't look good at home, that I might come home. Because America, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not an America first person, because that's a specific thing. I'm not one of those people. But in my heart of hearts, America is my home. And we are very much under attack. And I don't know what I can do or what I will do. But I'm not going to abandon the United States. Hell, we might end up needing Ukraine to save us from ourselves at this point. Anyway, so for me, the story here about the bounties to the Taliban for American servicemen in Afghanistan is not the story. The story is, hey, James Boudreau, the story is who was behind the bounties? Who are these people? And what else are they doing that we should know about? Because if Russia is the worst, then the people behind the payments, the bounty payments on American servicemen to the Taliban, they are the worst of the worst. And who they are is the GRU's 161st Specialist Training Center, also known as Unit 29155. Now, longtime viewers of this channel will have heard of 29155 before, because we've talked about them. The big thing that we talked about on this channel, hey, King Congo. The first time that we talked about Unit 29155 was in relation to Havana syndrome, right? Have we all heard of Havana syndrome? Do we know what it is? It's an illness that affects only, get this, are you ready for this? It affects only senior members of the CIA who, curiously enough, have a track record of sabotaging Russian activities. How about that? So the only people that get this syndrome are CIA operatives that work against Russia. That's a curious coincidence. The ears and hearing, says Maddie. She's right. That's one of the first. So the first thing that happens is you're sitting there at home, you're working at your desk, and all of a sudden you have this intense shooting pain in your head, ringing in the ears, feeling of nausea, sickness. And then for the rest of your life, you can't focus. It's like long COVID. You have trouble focusing. You have migraines every day. You are debilitated from the effects of what we now believe are some kind of directed energy weapon that the Russians have developed. And the people behind that are GRU Unit 29155. In fact, the son of the guy in charge of GRU 29155 was in Tbilisi, Georgia in 2008 during, the Russian invasion of Georgia. Anthony, it's not the same, you son of a bitch. So the guy who heads GRU 29155, his son was in Georgia. An American operative, his wife and young child were leaving the country ahead of the Russian invasion. They stop at a cafe to have coffee before heading to the airport. All three of them are suddenly struck with these symptoms. Now look, you can dismiss every other claim of this syndrome being human influenced activity, an attack on somebody. You can dismiss all of these claims because they're a single person until we get to the family in Tbilisi. A mother, a father, a child, all struck at the same instant over their coffee and cocoa at a cafe in Tbilisi. The son of the head of the GRU left Georgia that day, apparently right after this attack. So while we don't know, I've just been flagged for harassment and bullying. I wonder what I did. Anyway, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. TikTok's going away anyway. This whole thing is over in a couple days, right? Oh, well. So the idea that anybody is suffering from this syndrome because of their own health, I think is a real stretch these days with what we know. It appears as though the Russians have created some kind of focused energy weapon, whether it's microwaves or sonic waves or something else. We just don't know. But it's the GRU 29155 that's behind it. And that is not all that they are behind. In 2014, they unalived a couple of Czech folks when they blew up the ammo warehouses of the Czech Republic. $1 billion Czech dollars worth of equipment went up in smoke, and 2 people were unalived. In 2015, they attempted the assassination of a Bulgarian arms dealer who was selling weapons to the people that they were fighting. In 2016, they were behind the failed pro-Serbian coup in Montenegro. They just barely avoided keeping Montenegro out of NATO. If they had been successful in that coup, Montenegro would not be in NATO, which you can bet your bottom dollar that right now on the ground in Tbilisi, in Georgia, there are representatives of GRU 29155 there to make sure that Georgia doesn't join the EU, that Georgia doesn't have its freedom from the repressive regime in the Kremlin. Walter Williamson, right on cue. That was in 2018. That's my next one. Colonel, what was his name? Spirac, right? He was a former GRU officer who defected to England. And he and his daughter were in Salisbury Plain when they were hit with Novichok, which is a nerve agent designed by the Russians, right? I believe they both survived, but they were very badly affected by that poisoning. And that's on somebody else's sovereign soil. You're committing assassinations and poisonings in other people's countries. They were responsible for the attempted destabilization campaign in Moldova, as well as the attempted assassination of the prime minister in 2019. Since 2020, they have very much been the cyber warfare arm of the Kremlin, launching using wiper malware like Whispergate and other viri of that class. They have committed cyber attacks against every major European capital, every NATO member, everybody in the Baltics, and the United States. The FBI, in fact, is offering up to $10 million for information leading to the arrest and prosecution of 6 GRU officers. So if anybody knows where any of these guys happen to be, there is a $10 million up for grabs. Sandworm. I don't know what sandworm is, Scott. Why has the entire government of the U.S., both parties, just ignoring what Russia does? I don't think that's the case, Blue Ariel Silk. I don't think that that's the case, that it's both parties. Maybe it is. Now that you've said that, and I've said it out loud, I don't know. I want to think about that some more. You may not be wrong. Right off the bat, my first response is, look, if you want to get reelected in the United States, you got to be focused on domestic issues. Americans do not care about foreign policy. They don't understand it. They can't find Ukraine on a map. None of it makes any sense to them. And so it could just be, too, that the Russians have bought so many American politicians on both sides of the aisle that they have so many operatives working for them now that we can't get anywhere until we root these people out. I don't know anything about that, Scott. Most Americans can't find Canada on a map. Yeah, I don't know, Blue Ariel Silk. I don't know. That's a great it's a great question now that I think about it. Zalf, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But you know what would be very helpful is if we didn't have an adversary who was just spewing lies and disinformation into our political discourse every day to rot our brains. Now, look, I know the stupid people that listen to this shit are stupid people. But that's why we have to have honesty and integrity in our media. And I know that's a lot to ask for right now. We have to have that, because if you don't have it, then you see what happens. We get stuck with Donald Trump and a goddamn Supreme Court we're going to be stuck with for 40 fucking years. Are you kidding me? You know, Blue Ariel Silk, you are not wrong. We just had 4 years of the Dems ignoring Russian aggression. Now, I mean, they were okay to Ukraine, but not enough. I will not have. I will not have cheap con artist preachers in here. Crimea's on fire. Is it? I didn't know that. Did Germany block sending defensive weapons to Ukraine last week? Yes, they did. Well, no, we shouldn't say it that way. Germany didn't do it. Olaf Scholz did it. He is desperately trying to get reelected. He doesn't want to lose his grip on power. And it's a domestic play for him. But yes, they did that. Now, all right, so that's it for me on the GRU. Let's take a look at military aid that came out of the Ramstein format. The Ukraine Defense Contact Group met for the 26th time and last time under the Biden administration's leadership in Ramstein, Germany, yesterday. Out of that, and we have no idea what's going to happen when Trump comes in, whether or not the Ramstein group will continue or not. We don't know. The U.S. pledged $500 million in presidential drawdown aid. That's air-to-surface missiles, air-to-air missiles, lots of stuff for the F-16s. So we may be seeing the F-16s take a more aggressive role in this conflict soon. And that would make sense, right? The guys have had 6 months with the planes. They're pros now, right? It's time to stop just shooting missiles out of the sky and start doing the other things that aircraft can do. Okay. So the U.S. $500 million in aid. Now, again, I'm pissed because despite all, and Maddie, this goes to your point, doesn't it? Right? How complicit are clearly the Russians have bought the Republican Party. That's clear. How much of the Democratic Party have they bought? Because you know what Joe Biden did? For the last 60 days, we've been hearing about, oh, I'm going to get everything to Ukraine I can before I'm out of here. I've directed the DOD to get it all there. They're going to get every penny of what we promised them. Bullshit. And then you leave office and leave $3.8 billion in PDA drawdown on the table. Just walk away from it. It is, Maddie, you're right. It is like this administration has been intentionally feeding Ukraine just enough to survive, but not enough to win. And the only reason they've done so well with so little that's been given them is because they are so determined to win. Bamba Squeezer, we have a letter to Congress, the Senate, and the White House asking for a no-fly zone over the western part of Ukraine. If you want that letter, just contact Vanetta Larrett and she will get you a copy or give you the link. Can we get the link to the share, to the Google Doc share, put up there, V? Okay. So $500 million from U.S. Germany has pledged more Iris-T missiles. So that's the short and medium range air defense system that the Germans have given the Ukrainians. And Poland did not announce any details, but they said that they have a new aid package coming. The drone initiative, I think I mentioned this last night, the drone initiative announced 30,000 new FPV drones. Thank you, Cheyenne. 30,000 new FPV drones worth $55 million to Ukraine. That's the coalition led by UK and Latvia, but the money comes from the Netherlands, Denmark, and Sweden as well. So we tip our hats to all of that. Now, the Ukrainians, for their part, are not as happy about the 30,000 drones as you would think, because they look at the price tag of 55 million, and all the Ukrainians are saying, with $55 million, we could have made 150,000 drones. Why are there only 30,000? It's tough doing nice things for people. You really have to ask them what they need. And then you have to give them what they need, not what you think they need. So the Ukrainians are not impressed with that the way I was when I read it first. Now, for the first time, and it is about time, we heard something good out of the UN today. UN Deputy General for Human Rights Commission denounced the Russian summary executions of Ukrainian POWs and civilians. And there was no alleged in any of her talk today. It was, you're doing this, stop it. And she went on to say that the UN has documented 63 cases of summary executions of POWs and over 130 of the summary executions of civilians. Add that to the list of 100,000 war crimes that these bastards are guilty of since they first invaded this country. Okay. Norway, hey Lars, you here? Norway is going to begin building bomb shelters again. So up until 1998, if you built an apartment building or any building over 1,000 square meters, it needed to have a bomb shelter. The law was done away with because, of course, it's more expensive, it costs more money, it's not as saleable maybe, whatever. They're bringing that law back. So starting soon, if you're in construction in Norway, every structure you build over 1,000 meters square is going to require its own bomb shelter in the basement. There was a massive attack on a drone factory and its warehouses in Rostov today. In fact, it is still burning. The Ukrainians are saying that what they hit was like a floor covering manufacturer called Plast Factor. However, what the Ukrainians are saying is, while that's what that factory did before the war, now they are a drone factory. And so they have been taken out. That's in Rostov. Now, there's also an acetone plant up in the Leningrad area, up by St. Petersburg, that is on fire today, but no one is saying drones except for a few Telegram channels. The official cause was a spill. There was a spill in the plant, and the plant went up. But we'll see. We just don't know why it's burning, but it is certainly burning. Okay. So again, I want to thank Arn, who is the sponsor of tonight's live. I want to thank the TikTok moderators, Cheyenne, Vanetta, PT, Jay, and Travis. I also want to thank Nightshade, who has the Peter's Peeps group on the Book of Faces, where these lives get posted after we're done here. And I want to thank Lars, who has the Alexievich archive and the Discord server. So those are all my thanks. So now it's just Q&A, guys. Whatever you want to talk about, I'll talk about. Check out Sandworm on YouTube. I've been to Saturn. I'm not a fan of the sandworms. Did we get that? You heard a chicken farm got hit by debris and burned. Oh, and big thanks to Vanetta Laird, who manages the Google Doc share, where you can get all our letters to the UN, the Senate, the White House, the Congress. Tirgan, Margarita Simonian's husband, is apparently brain dead. And that's all that they're saying. He's in a coma. He's been pronounced brain dead, and nobody knows why. Defenestration. More like poison tea if he ended up in a coma. Bobby, you're terrible. No, this is not a Cold War, Aiden. This is a hot war. This is World War III, baby. Make no mistake, this is World War III. If it's a window or tea, I wouldn't want either one. I think the window would be a lot less suffering, though. No, Ukraine does not have to listen to Trump, and by the grace of God, they won't have to for at least 10 months. It looks like they've got enough weapons on hand that they can keep going for the next 8 to 10 months. You and me both, Walter. Hello, Ontario. Oh, yeah, this is very, in my opinion, this is very definitely World War III. How can you see it any other way? It's just that it's 1939 and Ukraine is Czechoslovakia. That's what's happening here. Mirages are supposed to start arriving before the end of the month. I want to say, Michael, I saw a date of January 25th, but don't hold me to that. Cutting lines in Taiwan. Did somebody cut cables in Taiwan? Yes, the EU is also supplying more to Ukraine these days, yes. So the EU is not going to abandon Ukraine, even if America does. Though I certainly hope we don't. Russia, North Korea, Iran, and China are the axis. Yes, they are, Nightshade. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. Just search for @Pytor Alexievich. You have to spell Pytor, Pytor. Pytor. I got to do a link tree. I'll try to do one this weekend. I know a year ago, V, you were busting my ass about getting on Linktree, doing a link tree. I'm no good at that kind of paperwork. Hey, Serge. That's a fair point. At least you got Japan and Germany on your side. Ukraine has a big drone exposition at the CES in Vegas and are world leaders in this technology. Yes, they are. Is it CES time already? Is that right? Is it this time of year? It's been so long, Bobby, since I've been. Ukraine is building weapons in America? Only the Frankensams, as far as I know. They were tested out in Utah. Exactly, Blue Ariels. It makes me crazy that Biden left $3.8 billion on the table. Just left it there. Really, he could not find the time for that? $3.8 billion, Maddie. Billion with a B. Really very upsetting, that whole thing. Yeah, Maddie, 3.8 billion. My favorite numbers start with B. What else is going on, guys? Lars is saying, use your computer if you're having trouble with the live. Right, Bobby? That's what I'm saying. Build it all here. You know, like the Ukrainians said, if we had just been given the $55 million for these fucking drones, we could have built 5 times as many. $1 million for Maduro, huh? Snowing in Indiana, is it? You hear UK has gas for 1 week. Oh, you've been listening to those trolls again. W42 asks, how am I supposed to watch you after the TikTok ban? I'm probably going to end up on YouTube. I mean, I'm already there, right? I started the YouTube channel and this channel at the same time. But I've had much more uptick, much more traction on TikTok than I have on YouTube. So I would love it if you would all go over to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So you guys saw the videos that I did last night when the pops and bangs started. And I would have bet money. I mean, American money, right? Like not phony Ukrainian money, real money. I would have bet American money that those were missiles that I heard. But I must have been mistaken. They must have been very close. They must have been very, very close. Because the official word today is that it was all drones last night. You know, I have very mixed feelings about the TikTok ban because I understand what a problem it is. I really do. It's a problem. For every one guy like me who's just a regular person trying to understand the news of the day and trying to do it as honestly as I can. For every one of me, there's 1,000 Russian bots spreading lies and disinformation, poisoning the minds of Americans. And it really works. X is the leading problem in social media. It is a sewer of fascist, autocratic nonsense. Well, I'm on Blue Sky, but you can't do this on Blue Sky. Blue Sky has a 60-second limit for videos. 60 seconds is very hard. Oh, Tom Weber Jr., that's a great question. If you have a TikTok subscription, what I would do is I would make sure that that subscription was set not to auto-renew. And this is for people like you who are my subscribers. Please make sure that your subscription is not auto-renewed. That way, if TikTok goes away, there's no bill next month. But it's possible that if you have subscriptions and TikTok goes away, you might not even be able to get back in to cancel the subscription. That would suck, huh? So make sure any TikTok subscriptions you have are set to do not automatically renew, or they are just for a month. Thanks, Tom. That was a good question. I hadn't even thought about that. Howdy, Richard Hansen. Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Blue Ariel Silk. We would sing for you, but we don't do that here. Because of Fitz. Fitz is such a party pooper. Even Jenna Jameson. God, I used to love her. Oh, God, I used to love her, dude. You're really showing your age there. "67% of my audience is American, Weibo. 67%. I mean, I'm about as American as they come. You know, I'm rude, crude, and unsophisticated. And so I can speak to my people. And I'm very happy to do that. But if 67% of my audience cannot see me, that's going to be a problem. And whatchamacallit, the other thing is somebody said to me, hey, Pete, you don't have to worry about it because we're just not going to get updates anymore. They're going to take it out of the store. It's not going to be blocked. Now, I don't even know if that's true, but let's assume for a second that it is. I want you to delete TikTok. If that's what they do, never leave a piece of software on your phone that can't be updated. Because here's what happens. The next time TikTok publishes an update, every hacker in the world downloads that update and then reverse engineers it to try to create an exploit to steal your life from you and your phone. So for the love of God, people, please don't anybody keep an unpatched TikTok on their phone for me. Don't do it. It's no good. If you can't patch the software, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Did they really, CyberDoc? TikTok said that if they lose the case, they are shutting it down. Nightshade very thoughtfully recommends that people do a monthly payment plan on Patreon. They don't take 60% of the money. And it's true. I mean, I'm happy that there are people who subscribe to me on TikTok. I am. I'm very happy about it. But 60% of that money goes to TikTok, not to me. Patreon only takes 8%. And the platform that they give you is extraordinary for that 8%. You are special, James Boudreau. You're a big help, pal. Keep doing what you're doing. You'll be on the board of directors, too. I'll have to expand the board of directors. Lemonade is no good because it's not available in Europe. So Lemonade is only available in the US. Not good enough for me. There's another one called Clapper, I think. I might look at that. I just don't know. This set is taken. You can't do the things that I do on TikTok on Signal, Bamba. Oh, Signal, that reminds me. I have to change my phone number. Hey, if there's anybody here, right, like Bobby is here, I know, and I think a couple other people here have my old American number for WhatsApp and Signal. That number is no longer mine. That number is not working. I have a new Signal and WhatsApp number. If you have my Ukrainian WhatsApp, that's working. But the US WhatsApp is not working. So I'm not blowing you off. I've just lost access to the American number. Dan Ballard, there's another guy who I talked to on WhatsApp on my American number. That number is gone, Dan. I don't have that number anymore. So if you've messaged me there, I'm not blowing you off. That number is just gone. Will you be able to continue doing the lives if TikTok goes away? No. Not here, anyway. PayPal, YouTube, Instagram, I'll continue on all of those. Sign up but haven't gone through. Oh, okay. So yeah, no, I do encourage people to follow me on YouTube, please. I am not a veteran, no, Toyota. But I come from a long line. I'm the first guy in my family since we immigrated to America to not be in the military. I did try, but I've always been heavy. And in the 80s, we had enough guys, basically. They were only taking certain people. And I could not drop enough weight to get into the category, to get in. I tried to get into ROTC, but I just could not drop the weight. VPN ought to work. If you just set your VPN to London, for example, you should still be able to access TikTok. But for a lot of people, VPNs they don't understand them. They don't know what it is. And I get that. The other platform that would allow the lives to continue is YouTube. That seems like the best bet for me. Here on TikTok, I anglicized my first name to Peter, but really it should be Pytor. No, I don't trust Discord. I don't like Discord. I don't recommend anybody install Discord. I have no relationship. I know Lars has the Discord servers, but I have no relationship to them. If something happens to you on there, it has nothing to do with me. I do not recommend Discord. I do not approve of it. I do not run it. No, there's only one country in the world where Alexievich is a surname, and that's Belarus. YouTube is the easiest. YouTube, I do a better live on YouTube because it's much more facile than this is. I don't even know how to play a video behind me in here. It's not a problem on YouTube. The problem is I've tried Truth Social. That's where I'm going, CyberDoc. You and me, baby. We'll be over on Truth Social. Truthing the fuck out of that place. Well, that's what Russia does, Steve, and they steal everything. They don't have the intelligence, the learning, the patience to do the hard work themselves. It's just that simple. $15,000 fine for having a VPN in the USA? What are you talking about, Maddie? VPNs are the most common thing in the world. No, Toyota. Nobody in my family's been in Europe for 6 generations. It's a long time ago now. I'm an American mutt. No, that is not true, Nightshade. Do not listen to that. That's nonsense. I have no idea what world that lie got into your brain from. No, I don't care what you read. It's not true. Exactly, CyberDoc. Every company that allows remote work uses a VPN. Oh, all over Toyota. Definitely not true about VPN. Yes, Scott. You do type a lot. Norton is a VPN. Norton uses VPN. Why can't I think? McAfee, where they used... Is McAfee still around? Are they out of business now? I don't know. The $15,000, I see. The $15,000 fine is for ISPs, internet service providers, if they help circumvent the block. So what you read, Maddie, was that Internet service providers will be fined if they help their clients use TikTok in America. Okay, McAfee's still around. Okay. Surfshark. God, it's a long time since I used Surfshark for anything. Manatee, I never heard of. McAfee is Russian? Is that true? No, Maddie, it doesn't have anything to do with VPNs, hun. Nothing to do with VPNs. Oh, anybody can. The protocols for VPNs are well known and well established. Anybody can build a VPN at home. Kaspersky is Russian, right? NordVPN. I don't really want to mention that that's the one that I use on my phones because they haven't given me a sponsorship deal. I didn't ask. But I do, just personally, I use NordVPN. Yes, I do. I hope I just didn't make it easier for somebody to hack me. I probably did. That's why you don't talk about these things. I'm coming for you, Weibo. Coming for you. Hey, Betty Thompson, how you doing? All right, let's just see here. All right, it's just 3 minutes to the top of the hour. So let me just, before we say our final thoughts, let me thank again our sponsor for tonight's live, ARN. Big thank you to the moderator crew, Cheyenne, Vanetta, PTJ, and Travis. Big thanks to Nightshade, who has the Peters Peeps group, and Lars, who has the Discord server and the Alexievich archive. What's up with today's live? Well, it's just about over, Raji. Good night, Debbie. Final thoughts here tonight. I'm out of my mind over this Russia paying the Taliban to kill our boys. I'm just out of my mind over it. And that a sitting president of the United States knew about it and did nothing. Thanks, Bobby. Good night. Good night, Walter. So, guys, look, just to be very clear here, this channel exists for 3 reasons: to disambiguate Russian disinformation, to keep Ukraine top of mind for Americans, especially the Western audience, and to serve as an intersection point where people who want to do things in Ukraine can get together and help each other do them. Just like all of you have helped me with so many little projects here, just one after another as they keep coming up. However, I want to be very clear about this. This channel exists to do those things, but it is not a charity. I do not raise money for charity. None of the gifts or sponsorships or Patreons go to the Ukrainian government or people. They go to help me survive here without using all my savings, though 5 figures of them are, it doesn't matter. So for anybody who wants to see this channel continue, whether on TikTok or someplace else, I would encourage you, if you can kick me $5 a month, please join the Patreon at $5 a month. Or if you prefer not to have that ongoing commitment, the PayPal is in the description. Sponsor a live. Send $50 or more, sponsor a live, and you will get your sponsorship. I do encourage everybody to follow me on other platforms because, frankly, if TikTok is going to close up TikTok in the US, they can do it in 12 minutes. 12 fucking minutes is what it would take TikTok to shut down TikTok in the US. Just that simple. Stop answering requests from these IP address ranges. Bang. You're done. Now, of course, there's weeks and weeks and weeks worth of work that goes into that to make it happen in 12 minutes. But in the end, you could get it done just that fast. My guess is that the application would stop responding and then you would just delete the application, yes. Anything related to Patreon happens in the Patreon app, Michael. So if you take a look in the Patreon app, if you go to your subscription, there should be a choice to upgrade your subscription. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, CyberDoc. I mean, just, you got to know your audience, pal, right? How many people here have designed firewall rules? But everybody knows you can block IPs. It's just trying to talk to the audience, pal. Well, Dark Irish, you might not have that choice to sign out of the application before deleting it. If they shut it down on their end and it stops responding, you don't have any other choice but to delete it then, because you're not going to get in. It is, Ante. I'm not really sure what your question is. Is it enough to uninstall? If they just shut it down on you, yes, that will be enough. Where can you get memorabilia that will help support Ukraine? Oh, United 24, probably. If you go to united24.gov.ua, you could probably find some stuff there. When are we due to hear from the Supreme Court? When is TikTok due to be shut down? Is it the 19th? See, Bamba, that's the way to go. Turn on your VPN first and try to access your TikTok. That ought to work. Night, Sarah. 19th. Geez, that's coming right up here. What am I going to do? Oh, well, I'll figure something out. All right, kids. Thanks for hanging out. And I will talk to you tomorrow, probably. Ugh. Thanks, Bermuda. Night, Birdie. You too, Common Sense. Good night, everybody. Make it a great day.